Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Romano. In today's video, we are going to be discussing globalization and the change that's happening now, as well as how you can take advantage of this great change. It's a wonderful thing that's happening that we will begin making products here in America. And yes, 20% of manufacturing was in China and a lot of other countries, etc. Whatever those numbers are, I'm not here as a dictionary. I'm here to discuss with you the change and how you can take advantage of that. I have a PhD in financial management and leadership, and all of my research is on hedge fund selection. So this great change, when you know that an industry is coming back to America, how could you take advantage of it? Well, figure out what industry is coming back here and what type of products for their supply chain do they need. And that's where you could take advantage of it. However, there are many other industries that can come back to America, and it's up to you to create that change. For example, our house. Look around in your kitchen and see what you could make here in America. Spatula spoons, they're plastic, it's a dye. You don't need millions of dollars to make that. Such as ceramic cups, they're easy to make, it's clay and an oven and glaze. All this stuff, you could take advantage of Amazon and selling it on Amazon as well. So you could have your own actual Amazon seller's page, but then you could make the ceramic cups, the spatula spoons, and all the products you need for your house, basic items. Remember, when there's an economy that changes, such as a stock market collapse or a real estate market collapse, the basic household items, they're always in need, okay? It's the expensive stuff that actually lags. And the next couple of years, our economy is going to go through major changes. If the tax policies change as they've been talking about them, and if they actually go through with it, a year after those policies take effect, there's a major recession because the public has less money in their pockets, which means that they have less money to spend, which means that the government actually takes in less. So raising taxes is not always a good thing. Now, the issue is that there are other industries that maybe you lose a job, you get laid off, like banking. They could also do layoffs. And so you have to prepare yourself with this big change that's happening. Before we continue the video, please remember, if you like my content and you want to say thank you, Anthony, please do thumbs up. It's right there. I want to thank you so much for clicking that. And as I mentioned in other videos, if you do have a real estate portfolio, I suggest sell it. If it's not paid off, or if your mortgage is not at least less than 50% and you're receiving rental income from it, don't sell it. And you bought it 7 years ago or within 5 years ago. I mean, if you purchased it within 4 to 5 years, I think now is a good time to sell. But you must also remember that you could take advantage of other industries instead of keeping it in, let's say, real estate and expecting to flip your house, which is not going to happen anymore. That's over and done with. Because of what's happening with globalization and the change that's happening, other countries, such as China, are going to have less money to spend here in America, and they won't be propping up our markets like they have been in other countries. But it's been particularly China that has been benefiting the economic boom that happened and globalization. So I would suggest finding a product that you like, that you believe in, and start manufacturing it, even if it's in your garage or a warehouse that you purchase for $100,000, or you buy some land and you build a warehouse for $70,000. You don't have to spend billions of dollars to become a manufacturer. It costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases you can actually start making the actual product in a very small warehouse, which is only $50,000, $60,000 to build. So if you do have 100 grand, you build a warehouse and then start investing in machinery that you need to make your products, such as tools. It's really inexpensive to make these things, and you don't need thousands of people to make those products. You have to remember that it was cheaper to make products outside the US 10 years ago. But now it's not so cheap, because if you add in the shipping costs, everything else that's included, it's not so cheap. And so you're better off thinking about, well, how could you take advantage of globalization changing and coming back to America, let's say? Well, you could become an Amazon seller, make the product, and then ship it to Amazon, and you don't have to have a storefront. You don't have to have thousands of people marketing your business. All you need is space, a little warehouse. You could build it yourself, buy land, build the warehouse. It comes prefabricated, etc. But this is what your focus must be. Forget about the real estate sector. Because without China propping up our markets and coming here and spending billions of dollars, actually 2 trillion of real estate in America, and that's just a calculation, but if you calculate all the Chinese builders that took that capital and they brought it to America and they bought real estate in America, well, of course it propped up our market, and look what happened to their market. They ruined their housing market. They built these buildings that aren't even finished. Secondly, people paid for them. So it's a disaster that's happening with the real estate sector. So where do you make your 20% return, a 10% return per year? Well, that's one, taking advantage and becoming the boss, the leader, and opening up your own company, such as manufacturing, because his whole 20, 30-year period, it's going to be about manufacturing in America. And it's not me that's just saying this, it's just a cycle that happens. What happened in 1945 is that America became a superpower because of the bomb that was created, okay? The atomic bomb, nuclear bomb, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, it created a stabilization in the world amongst of all the countries that wanted to become our friends. And if they became allies with us, they felt safer that someone wouldn't take them over, okay? Now, during the 1940s and 50s and 60s, because America became a superpower, and our currency also became stronger because all the European currencies were collapsing all over the world. It was a disaster at that time. They invested in the dollar and they held their savings in the dollar. So it made our country and our currency really strong. Now, what the US did was they says, well, we'll lend you money to help build your country, but you have to buy our products. And that's why the manufacturing sector started to boom in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And towards the end of the 70s, it was kind of over. And that's one of the reasons why the US government became so powerful and our country as a whole. A lot of people own manufacturing, including relatives of mine, people who I know, friends and family, etc. And they all had a certain level of income, a certain status. It's not the middle class, it's the upper middle class. Right now, we have lost the upper middle class. So you have the doctor level, which makes $300,000 to $400,000, and then you have the multimillionaires. But back in those days, you had the class of people that made double or 3 times what a doctor made. And that class is gone. And so, and not only that, but a lot of families are no longer making products. So get prepared now, save your cash, buy that warehouse that I mentioned, and take advantage of this great change that's happening. Not only do you have any type of products, if you're If the expensive products could be made here in America, such as solar panels, cars, batteries, silicon sector, computer chips, there's so many products that are coming back. But you have to think about that those are really expensive products to make. So they cost a lot. But if those companies could make money in America manufacturing them, then why can't us, the small people, take advantage of this great change that's happening? So again, household items. I mean, you don't have to make ceramic cups. There's so many things that you could make. That's simple, easy. You buy the die, the mold, and the hydraulic press, and the plastic, and you make all, you do whatever you have to do, whatever it is. Plastic is cheap. It's not expensive to make plastic goods. Or tools. Tools is another easy thing. It's an actual hydraulic die and a press for the metal, and you put it two together and that's it. But you can make it much stronger and sell it on Amazon, or create your own website and have your own marketing team go around to all the local shops, whatever you want to do. But because of Amazon, you have the world at your fingertips. Remember that. Because already right there, you don't need a marketing team, number one, because you just throw it on Amazon. And if you don't want to hire employees to do the shipping, you just drop ship it to Amazon and let them take care of it. There's millions and millions of robots in warehouses as we speak that is taking each product and putting it on a particular shelf. And then the other robot comes in and grabs that product and brings it to where it has to bring it. So this is the most incredible era. It's like robotics are coming, taking over the warehouses for shipping. And so that's why, whereas in the 1940s and 50s, you didn't need a lot of people to run a factory. You needed the marketing team, the management team, the people to actually make the product, the people to actually go out and ship it and deliver it. Today, you don't need that. All you need is a warehouse. Do not go buy a warehouse in your local city. You're going to pay top dollar for it. I'm talking about go to a small town, buy cheap land, and build a warehouse. Under $70,000, you could get a prefabricated warehouse with the steel beams and everything. You put the cement, of course, on the floor, etc. And you have a factory. Now, then all you have to figure out is what you're going to make. You need to discuss this with your family, and what do they use as kids? Like, what do kids like to buy? What do you use every day in your kitchen, your house? What items can you make? And when you figure that out, you can improve that item, create a patent that doesn't cost millions of dollars. It costs like $1,000 or $2,000 to create a patent on that product. And then buy the equipment that's needed to make it, or you can make your own equipment, etc. So I'm telling you this as a doctor, as a PhD graduate, and as an entrepreneur. I see the change that's happening, and you could take advantage of it. Forget about the real estate sector now. Because those of you who think you're going to continue flipping houses, it's not going to happen. We are not going to have those Chinese buyers coming into America anymore with cash like they have done over the past 25 years. That has come to an end. And unfortunately, we don't have the rich Russians coming to America and buying property with cash because they can't. They'll get it confiscated. So, and what happens, for example, if they do take over Taiwan, China? Well, wouldn't the government confiscate the Chinese wealth in America too, as they did with the Russians? Exactly. So when you hear people like Ray Dalio talking about the real estate sector and it's going to take a 50% drop, I didn't believe a 50% drop. I was betting on a 30% drop because in 08-09 that was a 20% drop that happened, but the government was able to come around and lower interest rates to prop up the markets. This time they cannot lower interest rates. there's a big change that's happening with our government debt because it's getting so much. Today it's a lot. In 30 years it's not going to be so much. So don't worry about that, because the federal government will never ever in our time period default on their debt. It will not happen. All they have to do is print more money. Of course it erodes our savings, and pay for the interest, or raise the interest on their product, and more people like the public will buy their bonds. So don't worry about our government. Our government is one of the strongest governments in the world, and it always will be. And forget about your ideology, that you have this ideology that it's too expensive to make products in America. That's not true at all. The reason why the products went elsewhere is because by the 1970s, if you remember what I was talking about between 1940 and 1960 and 70, around that time period, our government was lending a lot of money to the European nations and other countries to help them rebuild their country. And then by the 70s, that was dwindling down. And so the US government could no longer do trade deals, meaning I'll lend you the money, but you have to buy our products. And that's why America became a powerhouse in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s for manufacturing. I want to thank you so much for watching my video. Please remember, if you want to watch future videos, please subscribe to my channel. And also remember to do thumbs up if you want to say thank you, Anthony. It's right there. You just have to click it. And finally, if you have any questions, please send it to the live chat and I'll make future videos just for you. And if you have anyone else that wants to watch this video, use the share button. It's right there. You can send it to your friends or family. Thank you so much.